Hey guys, it's Jim Bounds at Motorhome Rehab Ranch, and I believe this will be the final page in the discussion on how to get good steerability and drivability in your coach. Now, if you're coming in on this on the first video, go back to page 1 and watch the other ones. It take a little while. They're 10 to 15 minutes, but all of this ties together. You can't just watch the end of it or the cliff notes on how to get a good steerability. Okay. Not to review, but to review. You know how to drive it. Mechanically, it's in good shape. Your alignment is right. Let's talk about tires and wheels. If you have a tractor trailer with steel rims on it and your trailer is fully loaded and you're parked, you need to rotate the tires, drive the thing a little bit ever so often, a couple of days. I'm not sure the longevity, but those rims will bend. Okay. So if you have the original steel rims, even aluminum rims, but steel rims, and it's been sitting for 5 years or 10 years or 2 years, you need to look at the run out in the rim, okay, to see if the rims have been bent in. Okay. Jack one wheel up off the ground, spin it, and hold a stick next to it and see if the tire goes in and out. Okay. Could be a problem. Could be a problem. If you have steel rims, honestly, it's time to go to 16 or now 17s. If you've got a coach that still has steel rims, you have an investment. You have a 50-year-old machine that's still alive. You have an investment to get good tires and rims for it. 16.5-inch steel rims. There's only one tire. That's a Firestone Transforce HT2 875 times 16.5E. It's the only tire that I would recommend to put on a 16.5-inch rim if the rim does not have run out. If you can spin the tire rim and you can hold a stick next to it and it doesn't wobble in and out or up and down, but usually you'll have a wobble in and out. All right, that's called run out. If you have 6 steel rims that do not have run out, okay, let's do 16.5 tires. If you have run out, here's your sign. You're going to create an oscillating vibration. You're going to have the front end shimmy. If you still have steel rims, I also recommend to, if you did not check the steering shock, it's up front. In the shaking, the steering shock could be worn out if you have rims that have run out. So I would definitely replace the steering shock. All right. All that said, if you have Alcoa rims, you have steel rims. Now let's talk about rims for a second. If you do have Alcoa aluminum rims, look on the back of it and see if it's got a stamped metal into the aluminum 1602-31. 1602-31 is the style bullet hole proper 116 millimeter center bore pre-89 GM proper fit rim. There are some later replacement rims, the newer hot shots, the ones with the oval holes cutouts in them. Some of them are not 116 millimeter center bore, and that's a center bore rim, so it's not centered properly, and you'll have a problem with that. So check your rims. If they're aluminum, if they're Alcoa, 1602-31 is the proper hub center rim with proper hub center lug nuts. If you have an aftermarket rim, ions or whatever, if you have the proper lug nuts on them, in other words, if it's an ion rim, those are lug-centric rims. The lug has a cone shape to it, and it centers that rim as it goes on. If it's everything today, just about everything today is lug-centric. Hub-centric is the old style to do it. Everything is standardized to lug-centric rims. So if you have a hub-centric rim, make sure that it's the proper center bore. If you have a lug-centric rim, make sure you have the proper lug nuts on it. Make sure that even your aluminum rims don't have any run out in them. Okay. Tires. You never see old tires on a Corvette because the owner knows that if he blows a tire, it's going to blow the side of his car off. Okay. Why is that? Because it's either made out of fiberglass from 1969 before, or it's made out of plastic, SMC sheet mold compound plastic from 1969 on. And guess what? Our GMC is also made out of sheet mold compound plastic. So everything from your body side molding down is plastic. Okay? You do not, I repeat, do not want to drive on old tires. You say, what's an old tire? I got this from my uncle. My uncle's name was Jim Bounds. And at one time, he was deep into the tire business. At one time, he was vice president of Gates Tires. Right? He retired as general manager of the largest tire distributor in the Southeast. Okay, and here is what he told me about tires. Synthetic rubber, the adhesion, the gooiness, the adhesion of synthetic rubber breaks down, lets go, just damages itself, disintegrates at 5 years. It lets go of the cord, whether it's steel or fiberglass or whatever. It separates. You've heard cords separate. You see a big bulge. That's where it's noticeable. But at 5 years, those cords start to separate because the adhesion in the rubber starts to break down, degrade. Okay. Especially on a GMC, you should not run your tires over 5 years. Okay. Date codes are very, very important. If you have a tire over 5 years, you could have cord separation. You could have a bounce. Okay. If your tire is old, you could have cupping, where it's been going down the road and it's got a cup in it because the alignment was off or something. It was low tire pressure or something like that. And it's not going to ride smooth. So you have got to have a good tire. You've got to have a fresh tire. You got to have a tire that's not damaged. You need a tire that is up to pressure. Now, we say we want an E-rated tire. E-rated tire is a 10-ply tire. A D-rated tire is an 8-ply tire. And you can get 8-ply or 10-ply tires. The 10-ply tires are going to be more, about 40% more. Reason that we go to a 10-ply tire, and if you look at the little code thing on your glove box, you guys have 73s and 4s, maybe 5s too. It rates for a D-rated tire 65 psi. Well, they found that the tandem wheels in the back, when they start to do this, that for a small length of time, that a tire could be overweighted for that small length of time. You say no big deal, but after 5 hours of it, that tire might overheat. So there was a recall, not a recall, but an update, and you need to have 10-ply, E-rated tires. No matter what your glove box thing says, no matter what the manual says, it needs to have an E-rated tire, and that tire needs to be 5 years old or less to have good steerability and drivability and for safety. Okay. An E-rated tire is rated at 80 psi. Now, if you put 80 psi in it, it's going to drive like a rock truck. You say, well, how much air should I put in it? Now, that's a real big rabbit hole because then you got to weigh each tire, how much, and then there's a chart and all this kind of stuff. Generally speaking, the way I look at it is 75 psi is close enough to 80 that the tire is not going to get appreciably hot. Because the lower your tire pressure, the warmer, the hotter the tire is because there's more friction. Okay? So 80 psi, the tire manufacturer prints that on the tire as proper inflatable pressure. Right? And I'm not telling you to do anything else than that, because that's a liability issue. But what I found on these motorhomes, that's one caveat right there. On this motorhome, this 6-wheel tandem wheel motorhome, that 75 psi in an E-rated 80 psi tire calms down the vibration enough, but does not create any appreciable heat or damage to the tire. Now, if you have the scales and you're at a rally and you want to weigh them and all this stuff, I know people that run 60 and 65 pounds, smoother rides, true. I'm a little concerned about heat, and that the tire is rated at 80. 60, 65 is a little bit lower than the rating. And those tire engineers are smarter than I am, so I'm listening to what they're saying. Right? Now, at this point, you should have good steerability, because you know how to drive it. Mechanically, it's sound. It's in alignment. You have good tires. Oh, there's a parachute hanging in the back, or the awning fell off the side. Well, that's a different thing. All right. Steerability has to do with several factors. Drivability has to do with several factors. I hope this video has helped you a little bit to understand how to drive this motorhome. One of the big things that I show folks how to do in doing these road trips is how to drive it. And without fail, every one of the folks said, "Yep, boy, I'm glad you were here. We had a good time. Still, you drive better than I do, but I'll get it. Dig it." That's what it wants to be. These are fantastic machines. They are a little bit unusual. They are unique. And it would help you to have a few things behind your belt to get behind the wheel. Thanks, Range Hands. Thanks for your support. If this has been helpful, these are the kind of things I want to do. I want you to give me comments so I can do better. Thanks a lot. Hit like, subscribe, be a Ranch Hand. Talk to you soon.